Hey, what's up guys, Rev here. So I'm sure you've seen the news, both Silvervale and Vei are leaving VShojo. This is an announcement that obviously a lot of people are reacting to on social media for a whole host of different reasons. So in this video, we're going to discuss a couple of different things. We're going to start with the official VShojo announcement because I think its wording is really important and there's also some misinformation being spread about it, so I want to clarify a few things. And then we're going to look at the public reaction to this news, which of course includes another round of Twitter freaks having a normal one. And then we're going to conclude with something I'm sure you don't want to miss. And that is some clips from Silvervale's stream yesterday where she hints at some of the reasons why she might have left VShojo, as well as discussed some of her relationships or lack thereof with some of the VShojo members. So let's jump right into it with the actual announcement. It is short and sweet, which I can appreciate from a VTuber agency announcement. It says, to our community, Silvervale and Vei have chosen not to renew their contracts with VShojo. We respect their decision and want to thank them for helping make VShojo what it is today. They will also retain their IP so they can continue as the creators you love. We wish them the best on the next leg of their journey. So a couple of things to note about the language of this announcement, since people are twisting it however way they want to fit their narratives. Number one, they did not graduate. They were not terminated. They are leaving on their own accord. They wished to not renew their contract, meaning they're going to be independent once again. They were not fired, not graduated. That is very important to note. Now, another thing, you notice this language here that they will retain their IP so they can continue as the creators you love. Now, what that means is they can basically go independent and do everything the same way pretty much they're doing it now. Meaning they keep their name, their VTuber model, their YouTube and Twitch channels, and basically just continue where they left off. Now, a lot of people are praising VShojo for this. So you have a lot of reactions like this saying, not gonna lie, VShojo is incredibly based for allowing its creators to continue using the IPs they created after separation. Now, a huge win versus what most other VTuber agencies do. Now, to clarify, VShojo never had the rights. They never owned the IPs of these VTubers. It is right on their website. That is a part of their creative freedom that they express as their goal of their agency. They never owned the IP of Silvervale and Vei. Now, what's interesting is, let's give credit where credit is due. VShojo is in the right to never own the IPs, right? That is a good thing. But they're not worthy of praise now that after these VTubers are leaving the agency, they don't deserve praise for letting them keep the IPs that they never had in the first place, right? It's a key thing to keep in mind. They are not doing something above and beyond. They're doing simply what they promised when these VTubers joined their agency in the first place. And they will obviously be pretty successful as independents. They built up their own brand by themselves. And they're going to return, and obviously VShojo boosted them greatly as they work with them, and it's going to be business as usual for these VTubers. Now, it's important to contrast VShojo versus Hololive, for example, where if you graduate from Hololive, you don't keep the IPs. Well, the difference between them is that Hololive, when you enter their agency, they commission your VTuber model, your name, your channel. They create everything for you, and then you perform in those bounds they already created. That's why they don't keep the IPs. Now, you don't have to agree with that. You can still think that's a bad thing, but it's a big contrast between them and VShojo, where these established creators just join the agency under their already existing persona, right? That's the big thing to keep in mind. But, of course, they have left, and people are speculating as to the reasons why they left. Now, of course, it is speculation, but based on some of the context and some of the words that Silvervale will express in the clips we'll look at later, we can at least speculate a little bit as to why they're leaving. Again, just speculation, but when it comes to Silvervale, we all know that the Hogwarts Legacy related harassment campaign she was targeted by had to have an effect on this situation. There is absolutely no way that the fact she was left to hang out and dry by her agency didn't have an impact of how she wanted to continue moving forward with them. When she was harassed, threatened, and her family members doxxed over playing a simple video game, VShojo did absolutely nothing, at least publicly, to support her or denounce any of the harassment she was receiving. They didn't do anything to help her. And maybe they were more supportive in private, but that is not where the response had to be. They needed to step up and say something publicly to defend their talent who was being harassed over playing a video game. They did absolutely nothing, and it had to have an effect. And later on, in the clips we're going to watch, Silvervale expresses that she feels like she didn't have much of a relationship with her other VShojo members. And it's pretty clear by the reaction to that whole situation, only 2 of her fellow members said anything about the situation. It wasn't even that deep. And the only people to do it was Ironmouse and Vei. And it was very brief on-stream reactions to the situation where they denounced the harassment. Now, in terms of Vei, why is she leaving? Well, again, speculation, but it sounds more like a parting of the ways. And she was, for the record, clearly against the harassment directed at Silvervale. But for her, we don't really know her intentions. It was the more surprising of the 2 people to leave. But it just seems like maybe she just wants something different. And it's unsurprising that the public reaction and the time we're going to spend in this video is largely focused on Silvervale. So like I said, there is a lot of public reaction to this, including another round of Twitter freaks having a little celebration party. And it begins with tweets like this saying, "Good riddance to that transphobic piece of trash." Yes, the good people calling someone a piece of trash and transphobic for playing a video game. Yes, and by, default of this situation, you're also calling Vei transphobic too. You're not even clarifying it. That's how locked in these people are on Silvervale. They are the true antis where they just tunnel vision and they don't really focus on anything outside of calling someone a transphobe. And goodbye, TERFs. Well, I didn't know Vei was a TERF, and certainly Silvervale. I mean, there's a big difference between calling someone a transphobe and calling someone a TERF. Obviously, they share a lot of things in common, but, Silvervale's not going around saying the sort of rhetoric that TERFs do. And, you will not be able to point to a single thing that she did that would make Silvervale a TERF, let alone Vei, of course. And, you have the usual Twitter freaks who were very involved in the harassment campaign. The people who kind of wrote their own narrative about the situation, saying that they were never harassed, never doxxed. Well, of course, they have something to say here, where this person's having their funny moment, because seeing people leave this agency apparently directly impacts them the most, and everyone was waiting for their commentary on this one. So they say, sorry, but the fact is, I 100% call this. What do you want, a trophy, dude? Congratulations. Yeah, big shock. Silvervale, in particular, was harassed and for no reason, and then her agency does nothing to protect her, and then she leaves that agency. Color me shocked. Wow, you really predicted that one? So did everyone else. But they go on to say, Vei is not as much, but I know 100% Silvervale was at risk for getting dropped by VShojo for how she handled things. Was called stupid and crazy, but guess who was right, huh? No, you're absolutely wrong. So you are one of the people harassing people, including Silvervale, over playing Hogwarts Legacy. And yes, who would have thought that would negatively impact the people you were harassing? But no, she was not dropped. I don't understand, again, rewriting the narratives. Silvervale was not dropped by VShojo. She left. She opted out. It was her decision. Clearly her decision. I guarantee you VShojo did not want her to leave. And we have to, of course, flip the narrative to, they got rid of her. They finally stood up for all of us Twitter freaks and got rid of her. Well, it's absolutely crazy. And for how she handled things, how did she handle things? She handled things wrong by, crying on stream, by being hurt that she was being harassed and labeled a transphobe unfairly over playing a video game. These people are pathetic, and honestly, it's like They talk about people, the never-ending coverage of the Twitter freaks. Well, it's the never-ending reaction like this that these people feel the need to rewrite the narrative and always feel right. It's not about doing right or wrong. It's about being right and calling it. I called it. Yay. Yippee. Yeah, congratulations. You harassed someone into wanting to leave their agency that abandoned them. Great. So more Twitter freaks like this saying, can't wait for more death threats because the trans community caused Silvervale to leave VShojo. Yes, there is a very big victim complex here in a lot of the quote retweets. Basically, Silvervale and Vei leave VShojo, and these people are the most affected. Apparently, them leaving is a threat to trans people, which is absolutely insane. It was the same thing with the Hogwarts Legacy situation. Silvervale's getting death threats, and somehow it's these people who are the most affected. It's very strange. And again, here comes another wave of transphobia and harassment. How fun. Again, like I'll say, and people will ignore this who are angry at me, but like, there is absolutely zero need to ever resort to transphobia or to harass trans people simply because they're trans. When we say Twitter freaks, we all know that we're talking about people who harass others over video games and related behavior like that. It's not at all directed at trans people. And anyone who resorts to transphobia is missing the point entirely, because you don't need to resort to those things to call out freaks like this who always make it about themselves. And you know what? Again, it just continues here in the reply saying, oh God, I hope it doesn't restart. And then the usual suspects, of course, the Twitter freaks talking about the usual suspects trying to spark up a dying ember as they once again spark up a dying ember. And just happy the turf wolf is gone from VShojo, since I like the others. Yes, the turf wolf. I remember when words meant things. It was a much better time, that's for sure. But here's another one saying, oh, thank God, the two most toxic members left, Silver and Vei, were awful. And I'm so glad they're leaving. I've been avoiding everything those two touched for a long time. It's such a relief, and maybe I'll ease myself back into VTubers that I used to enjoy watching. Yeah, you don't sound like you were ever a fan in the first place if this is what was holding you back from enjoying VTubers related to them. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. Like, the most toxic members of VShojo, Silver and Vei? Yeah, that's a pretty bold claim. I could think of a few others, but nonetheless, yeah, it's just crazy that the people will absolutely villainize. Like, did you bump your head or something to think that those two are the most toxic members? Absolutely crazy. And some of the reasons people are calling Vei toxic has to do with this whole past controversy she had where she wore this hat you're looking at here, and people are like, oh, that's an ableist thing. It's ableist because it's hinting at use of the R word, and they pretty much have never let that go. And here we are, like, again, all these years later, and people are still mad about that. But Twitter freaks being Twitter freaks isn't a surprise. Now, let's get into some of the good stuff here. Like I said yesterday, Silvervale had a stream, and there's some clips going around from that stream that are quite interesting to say the least. There is not a whole lot of name dropping, rather some more general and cryptic statements about her reasons for leaving, as well as her relationship with other members of VShojo. So let's give it a listen together.
Are they still your friends? Yeah, we can field questions if you guys want. Are they still my friends? I think anyone that was a genuine friend of mine in the first place is still going to be my friend. I think a friend is someone that talks to you more than when it is convenient from a business standpoint, and talks to you more than once every 6 months. But I think anyone that was my friend in the first place and is a genuine friend to me will always be a genuine friend to me.
Yeah, so the big takeaway from that is people are pointing out the fact that she mentions that a lot of the interaction with other VShojo members was largely centered around business, and that many of them did not reach out other than for something to do with business and didn't really communicate or talk with her and didn't feel like friends. And of course, people are speculating as to who in particular she is talking about. Some people have pointed out Froot. And, she had this message on Twitter saying, "I'm devastated about Vei and Silver leaving VShojo, but I will be happy for them wherever they choose to go. New opportunities will open up for them, and I will support them all the way," which, of course, is a nice message, but a lot of people are pointing out the fact that it didn't seem like they had much of a relationship, and again, behind the scenes, we don't really know, but a lot of people are pointing out some of her comments during the whole harassment campaign that Silvervale was facing, where she said that, well, everyone makes mistakes, and this was a comment made during the stream where Silvervale was crying on stream talking about being harassed, threatened, called a transphobe, and having her family members doxxed. It was a very odd thing because she didn't do anything wrong. She didn't make any mistakes, and a lot of people have really held on to this comment for a long time and have pointed at Froot for being one of these people that perhaps Silvervale is talking about. But we're going to watch another clip. This one is largely about Ironmouse, and let's give it a listen.
Are you and Mousy still friends? I've seen this question a lot in the chat. What is a friend?
All that. It took her 20 seconds when asked, "Is Ironmouse still your friend?" It took 20 seconds to say, "What is a friend?" That is not a very good look, but we'll let her continue.
Is it someone that doesn't talk to you for 7 months? I don't know.
Yeah, so obviously she's saying here that she doesn't really talk to Ironmouse, and I guess, would you consider that a friend if someone only comes around every 6 months? Now, to clarify, Ironmouse was one of the people to very vaguely defend Silvervale. There was a clip we watched in a previous video where she denounced the harassment, but suggested people should voice their concerns in a different way. It was obviously calling out the harassment, but it really wasn't a wholehearted defense of what Silvervale was going through. And based on this clip, it sounds like they really weren't that close in the first place. But yeah, a lot of people are taking this and starting a little battle between these two and creating drama. I don't think this is as deep as some people think. I mean, maybe they're just members of an agency and didn't have much of a relationship beyond that. I mean, that happens. But she is really airing it all out, and people are using this to create all kinds of narratives and explanations for why Silvervale has left VShojo. But no matter what, this whole situation is absolutely crazy. The public reaction to this has been immense, to say the least. And honestly, we all know that as independent VTubers, once again, they're going to be quite successful. They have made quite the name for themselves, and VShojo helped them grow, obviously, but the reaction to them leaving has shown just how relevant all of this stuff is. And the future of VShojo, I don't know. It's looking kind of messy at the moment. I'm sure they'll be fine, but obviously losing two of their big talents like this is a big blow, and it continues a very odd year for VTubers where it seems like everyone is either graduating, terminated, or leaving their agencies. But that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Please share all of your thoughts about this situation in the comments section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.